Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome back to Connecting the Dots.
Your daily look at the tech news that matters.
It's Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Great to have you with us.
Okay, quick check-in before we get to the tech stories. Sacramento weather.
Sunny. Nice day here. High of 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty pleasant.
Nice. Nationally, though, bit of a different story. Still got that heat wave hitting the central and southeast U.S. hard.
Yeah, and it looks like flash flood threats up in the north central U.S., upper Midwest, Great Lakes, southeast, even Guam. Tropical disturbances causing trouble.
Busy weather day. All right, how about the markets? What's the pulse?
Okay, so the Dow Jones closed yesterday at 44,739.94. That's up just about 79 points for the day, 0.18%, up 0.84% for the week.
All right, slow climb there.
S&P 500 finished at 6,328.6. Barely moved, really. Up 1.76 points. That's 0.03%, but up 0.38% over the week. So, generally positive trend.
Okay, and Bitcoin, always volatile.
Yeah, Bitcoin closed at 118,203.27. He was down yesterday, about $1,800, 1.5%. Still up for the week, though, 0.66%. So swings and roundabouts.
Always is. Okay, sports break. Did we get the Giants score from last night?
We did, and it's good news. Giants absolutely crushed the Braves, 9-0.
9-0. Wow.
Yeah, Landon Roop got the win. Braves' Matt Olson had a decent night, 3 for 5, but it didn't matter. Just a huge win for the Giants. Feels good.
Definitely does.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So, feeling good after that win. Let's transition. Time for our Morning Star.
Right. The Snarful Tech article report. We've got 3 big ones today that really connect some interesting dots.
Yeah, we're looking at a major security breach, some pretty cutting-edge AI coding developments, and how geopolitics is directly hitting big tech firms.
Okay, let's dive into that first story. It's a concerning one. Microsoft is pointing fingers at China-linked hacking groups for some widespread attacks.
Yeah, this is serious stuff. They've tied several groups, state-sponsored actors, they believe, to exploiting a previously unknown vulnerability, a 0-day.
In Microsoft SharePoint, right, but the on-premise version.
Exactly. On-premise servers only, not SharePoint Online in the cloud, which is the key distinction, but for organizations running their own SharePoint servers. Big problem.
And they've named the groups.
They have. Microsoft identified Linen Typhoon, Violet Typhoon, and Storm 2603. They used a method, Microsoft's calling it tool shell, to get into these servers.
So a 0-day, just to clarify for everyone, that means the attackers found a flaw before Microsoft knew about it, right? So there was no patch initially.
Precisely. Like having a secret key nobody knew existed until the door was already open. It gives the attackers a huge advantage. No warning, no immediate defense.
And the impact wasn't small, was it?
No, not at all. We're talking dozens of organizations hit. Worldwide. Multinational companies, government entities.
Sectors like telcos, software.
Right. And this is the really alarming part. The U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration, the NNSA, they were infiltrated.
Wow. The agency that manages the U.S. nuclear arsenal.
That's the one. Now, Microsoft and NNSA say no classified data was confirmed stolen. But just the fact that they got in, that's deeply worrying.
Absolutely. It raises questions about what else they could access or what kind of foothold they might have established for, later.
Exactly. Pre-positioning is a major concern with nation-state actors. Getting access now for potential future use, intel gathering, disruption. It's a long game.
And it wasn't just the NNSA, right? Other federal agencies, too.
Yeah, other U.S. federal agencies, a private U.S. university, even a California-based private energy provider. It's a pretty broad list.
Okay, so how did this tool shell actually work? What could they do once they were in?
Well, the flaw essentially gave them remote access.
Yeah.
Unauthenticated access. So they didn't need valid logins initially. Yeah. From there, they could steal credentials, usernames, passwords, that sort of thing. They could grab cryptographic keys, super sensitive stuff, and potentially install backdoors to maintain access.
So full run of the place, basically. Accessing files, configurations, even running their own code on the server.
That's what Microsoft indicated, yes. Yeah. Full access to SharePoint content, file systems, internal settings, executing code over the network. It's pretty complete control.
Okay, so what's being done? Microsoft patched it quickly, I assume.
They did. Released emergency patches. And CISA, the U.S. cybersecurity agency, they added it to their known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. That means federal agencies had to patch. like immediately.
Okay, so the immediate hole is plugged for those who patch. But
And this is the kicker, a proof of concept exploit is now public.
So the instructions on how to do the hack are basically out there for anyone.
Pretty much. It means less sophisticated hackers, maybe cyber criminals looking for ransomware opportunities, they can now use this technique relatively easily. The risk hasn't gone away just because there's a patch. It's actually spread.
Right. So what's the big takeaway here for, businesses, professionals listening?
Well, number one, patch management, especially for on-premise systems, is absolutely critical. You just cannot delay these updates. The window between vulnerability discovery and widespread exploitation is shrinking fast.
Ignoring it is basically leaving the door wide open, especially now the method is public.
Exactly. It puts critical business data, operations, everything at risk. And for everyone else, families, individuals, breaches of government agencies like NNSA or critical infrastructure like energy providers, they erode trust. And they can have real-world ripple effects on services we all rely on. It just underscores how interconnected and, frankly, vulnerable our digital world can be.
A stark reminder, definitely. Okay, so from cybersecurity threats, let's shift gears to innovation. And our second story involves artificial intelligence.
Right. This one comes from Alibaba, the Chinese tech giant. They've just launched something called Qwen3-Coder.
Okay, Qwen3-Coder, what's the deal?
Alibaba is calling it their most advanced open-source AI model specifically designed for software development. And the key phrase here is agentic AI coding tasks.
Agentic. What does that mean in this context? Like AI agents doing the coding?
Sort of, yeah. It means the AI isn't just suggesting code snippets. It's designed to tackle programming challenges more autonomously, like understanding a complex requirement, figuring out the steps, generating the code, maybe even debugging it, managing workflows.
Wow. Okay. So it's like a more independent coding partner?
That's a good way to put it. They built it on a massive architecture, 480 billion parameters, using a mixture of experts approach, which is quite sophisticated.
And how does it stack up? Are they making performance claims?
Oh, yeah. Big claims. They're saying Qwen3-Coder sets new benchmarks for open models in these agentic coding tasks, plus things like controlling web browsers or using software tools.
Better than other open models.
That's the claim. They even say it performs on par with some top closed models from the U.S., like Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4 or OpenAI's GPT-4, at least in certain areas, and better than their domestic Chinese rivals.
Interesting. And I saw something about a huge context window.
Yes. This is pretty impressive. 256,000 tokens, which is already large, but they say it's extendable up to 1 million tokens.
1 million tokens. Okay, translate that for us. Why is that a big deal for an AI that writes code?
It's huge because code bases are often enormous and complex. A massive context window means the AI can essentially read and remember a much larger chunk of code, maybe the entire project, its libraries, its documentation, all at once.
So it understands the bigger picture, not just the little piece it's working on.
Exactly. It can grasp the architecture, how different parts interact, maintain consistency, avoid conflicts. For developing really complex software, that ability to see the whole context is, well, a potential game changer. It helps generate more coherent, integrated code.
Okay, I can see that. So why does this matter to, say, a software developer listening right now?
Well, it could be a massive productivity boost. Imagine offloading tedious, repetitive coding or even complex refactoring tasks to an AI like this. It frees up human developers to focus on the really creative, high-level problem solving and design. Your coding sidekick, but a really, really smart one.
Sounds potentially transformative for how software gets built and for businesses.
Faster development cycles, definitely. That can mean lower costs, getting products to market quicker, big competitive advantages potentially.
And for the rest of us, what's the broader significance?
It just shows the incredible pace of AI development worldwide, and it highlights that China is making really significant strides in this area. This isn't theoretical. This kind of AI could soon be powering the tools and services we use every day. It's a global innovation race for sure.
Really fascinating stuff. Okay, so we have state-sponsored hacking, incredibly advanced AI coders. Our third story kind of ties these themes together through the lens of geopolitics.
Yeah, this involves McKinsey, the huge global consulting firm. The report is that they've actually stopped their China-based operations from doing any consultancy work related to generative AI.
Stopped it completely. Why?
It seems to be a direct result of pressure and scrutiny coming from Washington, from U.S. lawmakers.
Okay. What's the specific concern from the U.S. side?
Well, you had several Republican lawmakers, Representative Molinar, Senators Rubio and Ernst, calling for a federal investigation into McKinsey.
An investigation? Into what exactly?
Their core issue is this. McKinsey has big contracts with the U.S. Department of Defense, right? Over like $480 million worth since 2008. But at the same time, they've also been advising Chinese government entities, provincial governments, state-owned enterprises.
Okay, I see the potential conflict.
Right. The lawmakers are arguing that this creates a serious risk to U.S. national security. The worry is that McKinsey could be, even inadvertently, helping China's military or economy, especially in sensitive high-tech areas like generative AI.
That's a heavy accusation. How has McKinsey responded?
Well, in the past, they've defended their work, saying they have strict policies to avoid conflicts and that they don't work directly for the Chinese Communist Party or the central government in Beijing. They focus more on multinational companies operating in China and private Chinese businesses.
But this move to halt AI work suggests the pressure worked, or they see the writing on the wall.
It certainly looks that way. Reports also say McKinsey has already been cutting back on government-linked clients in China and even reduced their workforce there by about a third. That's nearly 500 people. So yeah, it looks as a significant strategic pullback, likely driven by this geopolitical heat.
So why does this McKinsey story matter to, businesses or professionals maybe not involved with huge consulting firms?
It's a really clear example of how these high-level geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China are directly impacting how multinational companies have to operate. It's not just theory anymore.
Right. If you do business in both countries, especially in tech, you're caught in the middle.
Exactly. It's becoming a tightrope walk. Companies are being forced to navigate these national security concerns, potentially choose sides, or drastically change how they do business in sensitive sectors. It's not just about markets anymore. It's about alignment.
And for the wider economy.
It feeds into this whole trend. People talk about decoupling or de-risking, this strategic separation between the U.S. and Chinese economies, especially in critical technologies like AI, chips, quantum computing.
And that separation can affect everything, right? Supply chains, investment, where innovation happens.
Absolutely. It reshapes global trade flows, investment patterns. It forces companies to make really tough choices about where they put their resources, where they develop new tech, who their partners are. It adds a whole layer of complexity and risk to international business.
It really illustrates how interconnected tech, business, and global politics are now. You can't really separate them.
Not anymore. This McKinsey situation is probably just one visible example of what many companies are grappling with behind the scenes. How do you operate globally when the major powers are increasingly viewing each other through a lens of strategic competition, especially in technology? It's the defining challenge for global business right now.
Wow. Okay, quite a journey today. So let's quickly recap the 3 big stories we connected.
Right. We started with those serious Microsoft SharePoint cyber attacks, linked to Chinese state actors, hitting critical organizations and showing the urgent need for cybersecurity vigilance.
Then we jumped to the cutting edge of AI with Alibaba's Qwen3-Coder, an open source model aiming to automate complex software development, a potential game changer for tech productivity.
And finally, we saw how geopolitical tensions are forcing major players like McKinsey to make tough choices, halting generative AI work in China due to U.S. scrutiny, highlighting that growing U.S. China tech divide.
From zero-day exploits to AI agents to global strategy shifts. It really shows how these different threads are weaving together to shape our world.
Absolutely. Understanding these connections is really key to navigating what's coming next in technology and business.
Well, hopefully we helped connect some of those dots for you today. Remember, we're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.